Hello friends, welcome back to this brand new video whereby we are gonna learn React basics and build this beautiful e-commerce website for selling cars. On the home page, we are gonna have this beautiful slider of various cars after some seconds. And down here, we are gonna have this reusable component. And also we are gonna have the latest new car releases and expert reviews, and after that we are gonna have this beautiful footer. So when you click on view more, you are gonna head over to the vehicles page whereby you are gonna view various vehicles and filter by category, by color, and sort vehicles by various criteria like price, mileage, year, and much more. When you check availability, you are gonna get to a page where you get to see various details of that specific car and also be able to contact the seller. So when you come here, you are gonna submit your first name, last name, email, contact. Of course, that's optional, and also you are gonna be able to customize this message. And if you have a trade-in, you can check this button to upload your car. That is, you have a car you would like to submit to be able to add some money and get this desired car. You are gonna upload your make and model plus the year according to the make and the model you selected. And also you are gonna be able to upload the exterior color, mileage, and vehicle identification number, and that's gonna be optional. So when you check availability, you are gonna get back some message to confirm from the seller if the car still exists on the market. You realize it's gonna be a nice project putting the React skills to the test. Also, it's gonna be a responsive project. As you can see, you are gonna learn how to make your components responsive, and it's gonna be a very nice project using CSS media queries to have these components responsive for various screens, both small screens, medium screens like tablets, and many more, including extremely large screens like big desktops. Every screen, everything you are going to learn from scratch, and it's going to be a very nice project. By the way, if you're not logged in, you can come here and log in, and if you already have an account, and if you don't have an account, you can come here and sign up, and after you are going to be able to log in successfully. As you can see, when you're logged in, you are going to get this logout button, and when you log out, you are going to be able to log in again or register for a new account. And if you like these tutorials and you would like to see more tutorials like this, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell icon. Plus, you can share the video with your friends. Okay, without wasting time, let's get started. Okay, I already created the React Basics folder, so I will open it with VS Code. By the way, if you don't have VS Code, you can come here to code.visualstudio.com and download the one for your favorite operating system if you're using Windows, Linux, or Mac. And after that, you can come here and proceed with us. So basically, we are going to create our React application in here. To do that, we are going to be using a tool called Vite. As you can see, Vite is the next generation front-end tooling, and it's a very nice tool in React applications. So we are going to use it. To do that, we are going to say npx create Vite. If you don't have Vite installed, you are going to be prompted to install it, and if you have it, let's proceed and create a project. In our case, we are going to be using our home directory as the project name, so we are going to say dot, and also we are going to be using React. Of course, this is the beginner's tutorial. We are not going to use TypeScript, so we are going to use JavaScript. And now we can install the dependencies with npm install. Okay, after that, we are going to run npm run dev to be able to run our application in development mode. So let's open our application in the browser. So we are gonna come here, let's paste here. As you can see, this is our default React application. When using Vite, we just run our application on the localhost, and at times you might need to run it on your IP address and be able to have your React application running on your phone in development mode. To do that, we are gonna pass here the server object, and inside here we are gonna say host and set it to true. As you can see, it runs on the network as well, so basically you can run it both on your localhost and on your IP address to be able to have your React app running both on your development machine and on all other machines connected to the same internet. For example, you might want to look at your React app running on your phone while in development mode. So you can basically go to your phone's browser and type this and just hit enter. You are gonna get the same app running on all your machines. So let's proceed and look at the folder structure. This is the file that has all the code that we saw in the browser. We are gonna clean it up for now. We are gonna remove all this, and so does this. We are gonna write our own div, and we are gonna say hello world just for testing. So basically, let's come here. As you can see, it's here, fantastic. So basically, you are able to run your very fast React application. Also, we need to remove these imports here. They were previously used in the default template. Let's save. Let's move on and remove this use state as well. Of course, we haven't learned about state management, so we are going to learn afterwards. So inside here, we also have the app CSS. So basically, this is the CSS file for this app.js. And also the index CSS is the CSS file for the main.js, which is like the entry point of our application. So this is the very file connected to our index.html. As you can see, we also have the node modules, which is where our project dependencies are installed. And of course, we have the public folder, which has our static assets. We also have the public folder, which can possibly serve our static assets when need arises. Plus inside the SRC, we have another assets folder for serving the static assets inside the React application. And down here, we find other files like ESLint, CommonJS, like gitignore. This is for ignoring some files when pushing your code to GitHub and index. And also we have package log.json and package.json, where we get to look at our dependencies from, plus the README file. This is like the default README. This is when you want to describe what your project is doing to be able to share it with others on GitHub. They can easily know what you are trying to achieve and how you did achieve it. So inside here, we are also going to have the Vite config.js. We already edited this file to be able to add the host and allow our app to run on the IP address as well. So okay, that's all. Let's proceed to the app.js once again, app.jsx, and also get to write some code. First, we are going to create some other folder. Let's call it components. Like we said, this is a component-based JavaScript library. So basically, we are going to be writing everything as a component. So let's create our very first component. Let's call it hello.jsx. As you can see, we have our hello.jsx ready, and we can write our component code. So to do that, we write a normal JavaScript function. As you can see, we are going to say hello. But we realize if it is a component in React, it starts with a capital letter. So let's proceed and say let's proceed and have it like that. So to be able to reuse it in other components, we need to export it. We can export it as a default, or we can export it normally. For us, we are going to be exporting it as a default for now. If you want to export just as a normal component, and you can come here and say export const just like that. But for us here, we are going to export it as the default. We are going to know the difference between a default export and a named export afterwards. But basically, a named export has the export keyword in here. In a default export, you specify the default to be able to differentiate it from a named export. We are going to see how each of them differs, especially when it gets to consuming them. So basically, we are going to come here and say return some JSX. So we are going to say div hello from hello component. Okay, let's use this component on our home page. So to do that, we are going to come here. So instead of hello world, we are going to say hello. So basically, this is how we get to include the component, but you realize we've not yet imported it. So we need to come here and import it. It's called hello from components, then hello. This is basically how we get to reference a component from another folder. So let's save and check it out. As you can see, we have an error. The server is being restarted. Let's try to refresh. As you can see, it's here, hello from hello component. So basically, let's come back here and make some changes. By the way, at times you need to export some data from this mother component to the child component. So we are going to say const some data. Let's call it some data and say some data here. So to be able to access this data in some other component, we need a way of sending it, and that brings us to a new concept called props. So basically, props, which is like the abbreviation for properties, are a way to pass data from a parent component to a child component. In our case, the parent component is app.js, and to pass it a child component, which is hello.jsx, we are going to pass it here and say some data equals some data like that. So basically, some data, this one in here is what we are actually passing, and this one can possibly be something else. It doesn't necessarily mean it will be of the same, it will have the same name as the variable name in here. So basically, to access this data, we can come here and receive it as a prop. To do that, we are going to say some data. It was sent as a prop to this component, and right now we can freely use this component. By the way, let's have another wrapper. We can have it as a div also. So let's have it here and say some data. Let's start by rendering it. Let's also render it in another div like that. Some data. Okay, let's try to align our items like that, and let's come here and check it out. As you can see, we have some data, meaning that we successfully passed some data from one component to another using a technique called props. So basically, that's how props work in React.js. You realize in here when we were importing, we imported it like this without brackets because it was a default component, because it was exported as a default component. So if we had exported it normally as a named component, just like this, we would say export const hello. Then basically we need to remove this, of course, and when we come back here, we would just say import hello, but inside the brackets, you realize there is a difference because when we had exported it as a default component, we didn't need the brackets, but right now we really need them. And when we check it out, it's basically the same thing. But of course, there will always be differences. Sometimes you need to export it as a default component, and in other times you need to export it as a normal component, that is a named component. So for now, let's get back to the default like that. And also when we come here, we need to remove the brackets like that. So basically that was all with the React basics, being able to set up a React application. And in the next video, we are going to be able to learn about state management, which is a very big concept and the main concept, which is a very important and a very amazing concept in React.js, being able to control the state of your components. So I hope you guys liked the video, and please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell icon, and I'll see you guys in the next video.